Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who I Hire, the podcast with the plan to give you the cheat sheet on how to get hired by some of the best managers and the best companies we know. Because we know today applying for jobs is complicated, it's difficult. There's no one formula. So yes, thank you so much for joining another great episode. And I'm super lucky with the guest we have on today's show. Anna, first of all, thank you so much for joining.
Happy to be here.
Perfect. So, Anna, I've got a bio for you like you do for all my guests. Hopefully, I get this one right. So, today we are joined by Anna, who has spent over 16 years inside one of Poland's largest organizations, Grupa Eurocash. And Anna, I'm excited because you've spent so much time in so many different layers of the organization. So, from what I could see, you've worked, obviously, you're connected to HR, project management, internal communications, leading organizational development. You've implemented systems driven digital transformations, and you really know what hiring looks like from the inside in various different angles, which is the key today. So, yeah, super happy that you're here. Did that bio tick the boxes? Tell me if I missed anything.
Big pressure, but yeah, actually, it's true. This is what I've done for the last 15 years. So yeah, I've mostly hired people for HR, but for very different roles.
Yeah. No, I'm super happy because I think that today we get such an added value talking to you because we'll talk a lot today about your direct hires for your teams, for your internal organizations. I want to talk to you a little bit today as a hiring manager, but we also get your insights as leading HR. So you also know how the functions are working in other departments with other team leaders and so on like that. So I'm super happy with that. That's great. And I tend to start by asking everyone, because candidates who are joining us today, I want to get them a sense of, can you tell me, what are the roles that you are usually recruiting for?
Yeah, so over the years, I've hired mostly HR roles, very different HR roles, from communication managers, employer branding experts, HR process leads.
Yeah.
And for a couple of years, some time ago, I recruited our management trainees among young graduates. So that was a chapter of my career as well. And most recently, I focus on compensation and HR data. So I hire mostly analysts, system admins, people who know, who like their numbers and their spreadsheets, and who are good with systems. So it's quite a niche, I would say, experience and expertise, because you need both hard analytical skills like payroll skills, technical skills, but also like lots of soft skills, because you need to explore business needs, understand the people you work with. You need to be able to communicate with different, roles in the organization, and also you need to be willing to share your knowledge in a way that's available to people. So you need to translate the data and all the technical details into, simple Polish. So this combination is rare. So it's quite an exciting thing to recruit people and find people like that. So that was my last recruitment process.
Okay. I mean, it's super interesting because as you were saying that to me, I'm like, okay, it sounds like characters that are actually looking for the formula. They like structure, they like processes. And the reason that we even started this podcast was because there was a lot of people coming out and saying, hey, listen, like, candidates can do all the right things and not get hired. And the empathetic side of me was like, how frustrating, how challenging that must be. And actually what we want is, I think, is from a candidate perspective, we do kind of want to just know what do people want, what do they need. We still, as candidates, a lot of candidates still feel like there is a secret sauce behind the scenes, and I'm trying to convince them that there isn't. This, I think this
Good
process is,
ingredients, probably, bad ingredients as well, but
and I can
number
imagine
one secret,
for data analysts, probably they really love structure. So I'm really happy that you're here today, because we can maybe talk about how you find that balance. But Anna, you've got a fantastic experience, and I'm really happy because, like, as a test environment, you've got that longevity in an organization. One of the questions I would like to ask is, how do you think recruitment looks today versus 5 years ago? I mean, if you can please share with me, like, how it is for you as a hiring manager, because we really want to empathize with you today as well, and how challenging things have changed, but also like, how do you see it from the candidate perspective?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. Well, for the last couple of years, I was mostly in the digital transformation, I'd say, less maybe recruitment field, but still a hiring manager as well. So I have some thoughts. Well, first, I'd say it's just such a weird vibe. I mean, it's like my AI is talking to your AI, and or maybe worse, my AI is trying to trick your AIs. This is crazy. I don't like it. It's to me, it's just sad because I think it deepens the lack of trust. Like the candidates assume we don't even read their CVs. We assume they don't even write the CVs. I mean, this is just, sad.
Yeah.
So I think some of it is probably true. Like we do use some systems and they use some chatbots. So it's on some level it's true, but also still like this whole vibe is to me, like personally, quite unhuman for such a personal and human thing as recruitment, right? Do you want to work with me? Do you
Yeah.
want to spend your days with me? This is such a personal question, right? And this is such a
Yeah.
human thing. It's all about connection. And we somehow made it look like it's all machines and all, AI is just trying to trick each other. So I don't like this, and I empathize a lot with candidates who are like, "Well, screw this. I'm gonna, send 100 CVs because that's how you win, probably." And then we end up getting those 100 CVs, and most of them is, irrelevant. So we're like,
Yeah.
"What do we do with this?" This is so. It's just to lay it out there. It's just I think it's very difficult, and just I miss the very human side. So this is
Yeah.
one thing. But having said that, I mean, from the manager's perspective, and me as a hiring manager, two things. One is I don't really like the idea that it's so incredibly easy to just, flood the system with the CVs, like an average CVs, let's say.
Yeah.
So this is hard, and I think as the secret ingredient, just having a really good and truthful and relevant resume is actually a very good ingredient. So that's one.
Yeah.
Two, I think from the hiring manager perspective, I think it's all the more important to bring the human side to the process, right? So to be open, be honest, communicate clearly, also establish some communicating rules like, look, it's life happens. It's okay if you cancel, it's okay if you come late, like life
Yeah.
happens. But
Yeah.
please, let's talk. Like I'm real, you're real.
Yeah.
We can do this. Like you can call
Oh,
me, that's fine. So why don't people call? This is like also something that really is a mystery to me. So I
yeah.
encourage everyone to just bring the human side into it. Me as a manager, I can honestly say like, look, things can go, different ways. I can change my mind. You can change your mind, but just let's be honest about it. So I guess for hiring managers, it's all the more important to do that, to like take the
Yeah.
responsibility for that. From the candidate perspective, I'd say, well, as you said, I empathize a lot with them. I
Hmm.
think it's really, really difficult. But I think going back to AI, I don't think it's all bad. I mean, use it. It's really good.
Yeah.
It can be valuable. So use the chatbot, tailor the CV, upload the job offer, upload your anything you want, and just tailor it. Just make it relevant. Also, ask it to ask you questions. Think about the questions, like brainstorm. It's all valuable. If you don't have friends who are recruiters, my friends are lucky because I can do this with them. But if you don't have a friend who is a recruiter, you can do it with the
Yeah.
chatbot, and it's going to be great. I mean, actually, it's such an advantage now because they can actually ask pretty good questions, and also like most of the questions are probably, you can figure it out. Like you can
Yeah.
read the job offer and you are, likely to guess what I'm going to ask you, right? So you can
Yeah.
prepare. And I guess this is something from the candidate perspective. This is an advantage today. You can actually do real good work, preparation work before the application. And it was not
Yeah.
possible like a couple of years ago. So I think that's my like couple thoughts on that. But I'm also curious, like, how about you? What changes do you look at the market from a pretty, specific angle? But what worries you? And
Yeah, you
you
use
know,
the word which is my trigger word lately when it comes to recruitment, which is this trust. And it's funny
yeah,
because I'm preparing a presentation for an event coming up, and the title of my presentation is that trust is how you win in recruitment. And yeah, I fully agree with you. I think that what's happened is trust. What is so confusing about the process is trust is at an all-time low from both sides. Is my
exactly.
advice. Yeah, I agree. Greenhouse came out with a report lately that kind of confirmed this. Let's say, but everybody is relying on a positive outcome. And I was thinking about this lately, that, we have tools and things like to block
Hmm.
cold calls, and we have those things that are in our life to help us, protect us. But I don't think we need protecting from the recruitment process. We've got into a really weird space that we are
Exactly.
defensive, but we both, everybody needs it. It's not going away. It's never going to end. So I do think trust is the key, and I think that also you said like I'm still trying to figure out the AI side, but I think that we've also confused things because they are easier as possibly being a negative. So, like you said, if someone came to an interview 5 years ago and they knew the last 10-year history of your company, we would be impressed. Oh wow, they did the research, they
Yeah.
learn. Now they're like, oh, it's AI. We've become
But
again
also,
defensive. Yeah,
yeah, but I'd say I want to say you would be surprised, but maybe you wouldn't.
yeah,
But okay, you, general
yeah,
audience, would be surprised how little people actually prepare. This is
yeah,
also like,
yeah, yeah.
it seems easy. If someone comes prepared to me, I don't say, oh, it's AI. I say, well done, great.
Yes, yeah,
So
yes,
I don't care if you've done it, in 10 minutes or in, I don't know, you spend a week. It's
yeah,
just do the work, right? So
yeah,
and it's actually still pretty unusual to meet someone who, is actually super ready for the interview. And I don't like, the tools are, just the tools. So you can use these,
yeah,
you can use those. I don't mind. But yeah, the theme of trust is, this is like, on a personal note, this is what makes me sad, because it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it is truly like one of the most, what, like, almost intimate part of the work, right? Do you want to
Yep.
work with me? Like, oh my gosh, like, this is such a question, right? You're
So,
going to spend so much time with me, more than my husband sometimes, and more than my
yep,
kids. So this
yep.
is, yeah, if I don't trust you, and if you don't trust me, like, this is just not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm with you on this one, like a thousand
Good.
percent. And I think
Yeah.
again, I think it's a super confusing time. And I think again, we are just because there are so many different variations of this on the market. Like again, every person is different.
Mm.
To be honest, for every great organic person like you, I do know that on the market there is someone out there on the HR side playing games and using AI.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Mhm.
But make uh, we shouldn't make then steps forward to only protect ourselves from the worst
Yeah.
kind of recruitment. We should
Yeah.
hope for the best and expect the best. And one thing you said, which again, I think for every candidate, and I think this can be a continuing thing for us, which is that basically we want you to be successful. We are a human
Mhm.
on the other side of the table, and I think it's actually
Yeah.
it could be a little bit harder for you if I must say so, because I think the larger the organization that you represent, the more sometimes the candidate feels more like they are talking firstly to the company, not to the hiring manager. I mean, have you experienced that? How is
Yeah.
it in a large organization? I've always worked for startups, so I can't relate a little bit.
Yeah. Well, actually, your first step is you talk to our recruiter. So
Yep.
it's always a human, someone. It's
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
usually my team who's going to reach out if your CV got,
Yep.
seen. And during screening, we said, okay, this is something that we can work with.
Yep.
So it's always someone in the beginning.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
also, we are really transparent with who's going to contact you, and you can find our, info on the webpage and everything. So it's
Sure.
easy to see the human behind the process. So I hope,
Yeah.
at least even in our big organization, is I hope that that you're going to talk to, usually a girl from my team who's
Yeah.
going to be with you throughout the whole process. And then in the
Yeah.
end, you'll probably meet me or some other hiring manager or some, duo or
Yeah.
whoever. But there will be, human side of it during the whole
Yeah.
time. So hopefully I hope we deliver that. But I can imagine that when you apply, you actually apply, through the screen, through the system, and it's
Hmm.
one click apply, and it's very human-less.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it begins very, yeah, I'd say anonymously, right? This is probably the word.
Yeah,
So
and then I think that anonymous part is what's expanding
mhm,
now, sadly, for both sides with
exactly.
the AI and element a
Yeah,
little bit
because
as well.
we have, even for my recent recruitment, I got what, like 160 CVs. So I'm not going to read them all. This is impossible. But my
Yep.
recruiter goes through each and every one. So again, 50 maybe, I checked yesterday, it was about 42 maybe, was the ones that we marked as relevant, which means 110 was not. So why, like my first question is probably I don't know, like question is, why did you apply for a role that you actually don't have anything in you? Like it's because it's not like it was, 100 slightly, CVs that just slightly are off. No, it's like absolutely not. This is not, you don't know how to do the job and you probably know it. So I agree that with what you said, like the system now is trying to protect, my recruiter's time and then my time as well. But in the process, we probably lose a lot. So
and this is the funny thing with the quote is like both sides are trying hard, but we are getting worse, and that's the crazy or the trust is lowering. But Anna, like, tell me, because you touched on it before a little bit, and I would love to ask you, like, so based on what you know or the most recent recruitment you have, now we consider all these tools, all these things on the market. Do you what is an ideal or what is a recruitment process that you kind of prefer the most now? You talked about screening with a recruiter, etc. How would a role look like applying at your company working with you? What do you like the most? What are the stages that make you feel most comfortable about the recruitment?
So we begin with like a kickoff meeting between the hiring manager, me, and the recruiter. So we sit down and we align on, requirements, what's non-negotiable, what's nice to have, what is the team setup, why am I hiring in the first place, like what happened, what recruitment strategy will be going with. So the channels, the timeline, so everything happens during this first meeting so that the recruiter gets, a vibe of what I'm looking for, and also aside from the vibe, the clear list of things that we are going to focus on. So, and that shapes everything that follows, because what then happens is usually it's a she prepares the job offer, the job ad, and then she will do the first heavy lifting, right? So she will actually just go through the CVs and pick the ones that, are close to what we look for in terms of the non-negotiable requirements. So this is why I emphasize the CV part. My biggest fear is in the 160, there was someone who could actually do the job, but I just didn't find out about it. This is something that I think the candidates may be, it's probably hard to imagine, right? But this is all we have. We only have the CV and we only have the recruiter who's not actually part of my team, right? Like she just, she listed the requirements. We talked about the role, and if there's 7 points, she's going to look for those 7 points in here. And if there's no match, like, I'm sorry, we cannot connect the dots for you, right? We have 160 of those to go through. So this is the first stage, the screening. And once we find the match, she will show me the CVs, and I'll further pick the ones for phone interview. So this is what we do next. We do the phone interview. These are mostly for the hard requirements checks. So financials, availability, like the technical must-haves, right? You wrote something that you know something, but I actually want my recruiter to check. Do you actually know something? How long have you worked this? What's your expertise in that? So this is probably like a 20 to 30 minute phone call. And then you get shortlisted to talk with us, like with hiring manager or team manager, or a duo of the team manager or team member even. So this is the stage 3, is the interview with me as a hiring manager. So this is where I go deeper. Like I don't ask the same questions that were asked before. Like every stage should answer a new question, like the one that the previous ones couldn't. That would be a waste of time if I went through it again. So I go deeper. I want to understand, like, what is the motivation, how they work, if we're actually, going to align, what drives them, what is it that you're looking in a job, and can I give it to you? Because I think it goes both ways. I'm looking for someone who can do this and that, and who is going to work like this, but also you have some dreams, right? You have some things you think about when you think about your dream job. So I want to understand it and tell you, okay, I can give it to you, or no, it's not me. So this is the last stage.
Okay, and one of the questions that I've come up lately, I'm interested. So obviously you have the the support or the mechanism, which is the recruiter that's doing that initial phase for you. Once we get through that and we have like the phone screening and the interview,
Yeah.
from your side as a hiring manager, are you consulting, or is anyone else on your side helping you with that decision making
Yes.
process, or is
Yes.
it all on you?
No, that would be silly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good, but not that good. I'm usually with, for the last couple of recruitment processes, I was with my team leader as well. So
Okay.
it was not my direct team, but the team one level below. So there was the two of us. And sometimes it's the team member who is being replaced, right? I have a very talented team, so they
Yeah.
move on, sadly. I'm very proud, but
Sure. Yeah.
you have to find someone else. So sometimes I just do this with them because they know the work the best. They know the tools, they know the day to day. So I always try to have like the two people minimum, right? And then the recruiter, obviously.
Yeah. And I think just again to understand how you work, because I know that again, and candidates are trying to understand this, and
Yeah.
even I'm trying to understand this as a hiring
Yeah.
manager sometimes. Because let's say probably to oversimplify these kind of three stages of kind of qualification, phone screening, and in-person interview. If you had 20 candidates that were perfect from the very first stage, can you imagine putting them all through to the interview, or do you still want to kind of narrow down over those stages? Because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm asking this because again, one thing I want to explain to candidates a little bit, or give an insight in, is for me as a hiring manager, I'd love to give you all the full package, but time is not really, and resources not on our side to do so. So one thing we are trying to do is to narrow down, at least when we do recruitment, and traffic. I mean, how does it look from your side?
Very good question. You mentioned it earlier, I think, but
Hmm.
I genuinely root for the candidates. I want
Yes, yeah,
This is
yeah,
also something
yeah.
that candidates miss. I want you to win. Like this is my, interest for you
Yes.
to be the best. So that if I have 20 great candidates, can I imagine? No, probably not. I will have to narrow it down.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but also it never happens.
yes,
It just never
yeah.
happens.
It's not
So
the market that we have
usually,
today.
yeah, but also almost never. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Maybe it's the niche that I recruit for,
mhm,
but it's really difficult. Like sorry, even if for my profile, like you need someone who's very analytical, but also communicative, and he's
yes, yeah,
willing to sit down with the spreadsheet, but also run a project and do something. So it's very
yeah,
it's quite unique, and I guess most of the roles are somehow like that. Like in your company, for example, you need someone
yeah,
very specific. So you won't have 20. And
yeah,
the whole goal is to just get closer and closer and closer. And sometimes we finish with 2 or 3 good candidates. This was actually my last
yeah.
experience, which was, by the way, great because I hired the other one sometime later. So I
Yes, yeah,
come back to the candidates who are really good, but slightly less good than the best one.
yeah.
So that's great if it happens, but it very rarely happens.
Yeah,
So
and
no,
again,
the
candidates,
goal is
I
to
think that you can't see this. I really want to tell candidates not to see this as a negative. I mean,
yeah,
ultimately, the goal is that we want to keep increasing the investment into time to the people who have the best chance to run the role. So the
yeah,
last thing you want as candidates is like, well, hey, listen, if we're all qualified, we should all get an interview. Oh, great. What you'll find is you'll find the introduction of the 5-minute interview, and it will not be great for
yeah,
anyone. We
yeah,
only
yeah,
have so much time and resource, right? So
yes, yes,
no, it's
absolutely.
so Anna. So thank you so much for that. I mean, one of the questions I've got here, which is, what is what have candidates done to get hired by you? Do you recall like any
Yeah.
experiences or moments, like what's a thing a candidate can do to trigger you or to make you feel really confident in them? Like any kind of
Mhm.
actions or characteristics? What's happened in the past where you've gone, oh, okay, that's the person.
Well, I was thinking about it, and I came up with one story that was a long time ago, but still, it shows that it was a good move because I still
Still
remember it
remember it? Yeah,
so many
yeah.
years ago. So it was a candidate who applied for an employer branding position, employer branding
Hmm.
role, and had zero EB experience. But her background was in PR, and
Okay.
her move was to, instead of hiding the gap or just pretending it's not there, she made actually made it her story. So her CV, both like visually and also, in words,
Yeah.
just mapped the evolution. Like, this is who I was, this is what I learned, this is the natural next step for
Yeah.
me. And she explained why she was moving in that direction, what she's already done. So she owned the gap in a way. Like, she said,
Yeah.
look, I know it's my gap, but it's actually to my advantage. And then what she did is, again, such a simple thing, and yet nobody does that almost, is she just physically came to the office, brought the CV, the same one she, posted online, and just, put my name on the envelope and left. I never even saw her, but you know what happens.
Wow.
Reception calls and she goes, "Hey, Anya, do you know some candidate just randomly,
Sure.
and
Sure.
that makes you go like, okay, like she showed
Yeah.
physically and literally she showed up. And in this, again, in this era of, one click apply, I don't even need to see you, like everything is behind the
Yeah.
screen. This is something, still all those years later, I think about this really fondly. And they
Yeah.
could notice I interviewed her. I would have interviewed her anyway, even if she didn't come, right?
Yeah.
Because she was
Yeah.
genuinely good. And I hired her. But it was all those little things that make you go like, okay, like
Yeah.
and also because I was looking for an employer branding expert, she was also good with brand, right? So that was on spot, like spot
Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
in this case. So this is like a very particular story, but I think the bigger story here would be, again, it's surprising to me. It's probably a surprise for candidates who are not in my position. Like, people don't actually do that. So if you do the
Yeah.
small thing, it will be noticed. If you call
Yeah.
me, I'll be like, oh my God, do you know that someone called me? Like, if you
Yeah.
follow up with a phone call, I would be just stunned because people don't do it. And it's just, it's
Yeah.
an option. You can use it and it will be remembered because, yeah,
I,
it's
I
very rare.
yeah, I mean, I do love it, and I think there's a couple of takeaways here for candidates in this respect in my mind,
Mhm.
which is the one thing like what I try to explain to candidates sometimes. We really want you to make the decision easy. Help
Ex-
us want to hire you, like help a hiring manager, and we like like anything when you're and candidates, you can relate to this because you are applying for hundreds of jobs now sometimes, and
Yeah.
I see it on the other side. So when we do something as an employer, like we include the process of the recruitment, or we
Yeah.
reply within 2 days, and I'm seeing candidates go, oh wow, because
Wow. You called exactly. This
exactly,
is
a little change, because the bar is pretty low in terms of our trust and what we expect from people, and it goes both ways. It goes both
yeah.
ways. Hiring managers
Yeah.
can be quite easily impressed these days because the
This is
bar is
the
quite low,
yeah.
right?
Yes, that's the bottom line. We can be easily impressed by things that are very, very simple. Like, you don't have to
Yeah,
drive to the office right now. You can,
yeah,
it's not even that specific example. It's just something that is unusually kind or just,
yeah,
just above average, as you say. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's what I just want to touch on. That. So the funny thing is the takeaway here for me is not go get in your car and
Yes.
go to every job you apply for.
Yes.
I think what's so nice about this story with the candidate that you're explaining is there's two elements here for me. One is that sounds like it was on brand for her as an individual.
Yes.
She was good at this. You know how
Yes.
she was in PR.
Yes.
And what I would say is you should always do the things like don't try not to fake it. Like if you would pick up the
Exactly.
call, do it. But if you wouldn't, find the way that connects to you. Yeah. But the second thing here, which I wanted to
Mhm.
ask Anya, like is, and this is a trend I am seeing a little bit, to be honest. And I wonder if I think that we are really relating more and more to candidates who show their deficiencies, their weaknesses, their what the, owning what they are not good at, or what on
Mhm.
paper isn't saying it. And I'm seeing this more and more because, again, trust is low, and one of the clinical builders of trust is authenticity. Yeah, so we are
Yeah.
looking for that element of show me what you're not good at, so I don't have to find it as a manager. Show me what you're not good at, so I know what to expect of you in your first 3 months. Yeah, like help me trust you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that's what connected with me when you told her that she owned this? I've never done this before. Yeah, that.
Or I've done, yes, exactly. Well, I mean, there are a couple things. One is, again, the authenticity part. I don't need you to do it. Like, it's not
Yeah,
a thing that
yeah,
now you have to think what you don't know and then, oh, you'll come off great and
yeah,
authentic. It's not that. It's just that I think the point is it shows me that you try to understand the work and you try to imagine yourself doing it,
yeah,
and you went, oh, well, this one is probably, slightly missing, but can I learn it fast? If
yeah,
I can, show me you've learned fast before.
yeah,
Can I maybe use some other things that I did, like the PR story? Yes, I can. This is what I'm going to do. So I think it's more about the homework that the candidate did
yeah,
beforehand.
yeah,
They actually thought it through. They not only, applied and
yeah,
want to get the job, but they actually imagine themselves doing it. And once
yeah,
you do that, you can see, okay, well, this is where probably I'm going to get some help. And bonus now, you can ask me if the help is even possible during, I don't know, onboarding process. The
yeah,
candidate who goes like this, and then
yeah,
I say, do you have any questions? And they go, well, actually, I do. And then, it's like
yeah,
a period
yeah,
in the end of the story. I mean, it's brilliant. It's as you say, like you made my job easier. And
yeah,
I I don't think I once read somewhere someone go someone went, it's not my job to connect the dots for you. And I think this is exactly that. I have
yeah,
so much work. I do my work
yeah,
and then I recruit and then I do, 100 different things.
yeah,
So if you do the work, if you connect the dots for me, then oh my gosh, like we're so happy.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm not worried about a candidate who is underqualified. Can I
yeah,
hire someone who is underqualified? Yes, I
yeah,
can, I will, and I have. Because I don't even know what I'm going to ask you in 3 years, right? So
yes, yeah,
you are
yeah, yeah,
probably underqualified, but I don't even know it.
yeah,
But still, can you find the gap yourself? Can you, try to fix it? Can you imagine it? Do you have a
yeah,
plan on how to
yeah,
upskill? Have you done it successfully in the past? This is what actually is more important actually than do
yeah,
you know it now? Because
yeah,
also
yeah,
when I recruit someone new, when I recruit someone to replace someone, like I'm not going to replace my best teammate. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
impossible. So I just want you to bring in something new. So that's always something good, right? Even if you
yeah.
don't know something or know, but from a different angle, well, all the best for us.
Yeah, I know. I'm fully on board with this, and I think again,
Mm.
I think it like energy is one of those things that right now I think in recruitment is challenging. I'm seeing candidates who they are grouping this experience together. I very surprised. Like a week ago, I saw on LinkedIn a post from a recruiter, and it showed that a candidate said, "Oh, I'm happy to apply for the job. I'm really interested. However, I'm not going to send the video that you requested because I'm just so tired from the job search." Now, I empathize with the candidate, but that the energy is energy here. You're like, we have to treat everything new, like first time, like opportunity. And I super empathize. But again, the more we treat everything the same, the lower the energy will be, the lower the trust will be. Everything is new, and I think that goes for both sides.
Yeah, I guess also where I see the source of the problem as well is if you apply to 100 position, you cannot bring this kind of energy into
Yeah,
100 positions.
yeah,
So, I know it's a counterintuitive advice. I don't even know if it's a good advice, but I
mhm,
would say apply less.
yeah.
Like apply
No,
where you
yeah,
care. It would,
yeah,
coming back to the beginning of our conversation, that would like solve some of the problems, right? I wouldn't get the
yeah,
100 CVs that were really irrelevant, and you don't need to be super, enthusiastic like 100 times. You just need to
yeah,
be, I don't know, 10 times or 15 times or 20. This is, doable. Whereas the 100, probably not. So this is, I think, the tricky balance. Like,
yeah.
I don't have the answer to it. I'm just, sharing the what
I
I
know,
see.
no. I mean,
I
I think
really,
in any other part of life, this is followed. In any other part of life, I think only the fear of or the desperation, the fact that our employment is attached to so many other things in our lives, such as paying the bills, taking care
Yeah.
of families. And this is what causes this fear and desperation that makes us illogical. But in any, I have to like, are you familiar with the? I was talking about this lately. Familiar with the show, The Love Is Blind?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my
You're more.
wife is watching Love Is Blind, and I watch it, and it drives me a little crazy because it's so crazy. But I get it, and I was like, this is what we are aiming for in recruitment right now. We want to go from I don't know anything about you to I trust you enough to have a job with you in
Yes.
such a small period of time.
Yeah.
And in any other form of anything else, it seems illogical, crazy, dramatic, and then this is the recruitment process. But
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let me flip this over to the other side. Is there? I know this is normally a difficult question to ask, but what's the opposite side of that? What can a
Yeah.
candidate do to really turn you off, or to maybe trigger you to think, "Oh, that's not the right person," then, or that didn't
Mhm.
happen? Have you experienced that, and how does that look?
Yeah. Well, let's keep in mind that I see you quite late in the process, right? So
Yes.
we're talking like last probably stages. But sometimes during the screening or the phone interviews, you can make some mistakes during my recruiter. But
Yep.
let's say we're during the interview and I can actually see you. So there are several things that are just make things harder for me or just make me go like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
like from simple things like you have two screens because you're an analyst and you don't look at
Yep.
me ever. Oh my gosh. I mean, I cannot talk like this. This is the
Okay.
worst. I don't even know where to look. And I see
Sure.
like it doesn't,
This one.
the
Mm-hmm.
two screen thing. And
Yeah. Now I get it. Yes.
yes, I look at like this all the time. This is just not going to work. I'm not going to connect with you. So it's a small thing, but just look at me.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Then I'd say it's pretty obvious, but talking poorly of other employers or your
Sure.
colleagues or just talking poorly about anything or
Yeah.
anyone, sorry, it's just not okay. I don't want to hear it. Like, just don't. So this is
Yeah.
simple. And even if this is your main motivation, I mean, this is not the time to share it probably.
Yeah.
Then also very simple thing, or maybe not, depending on what's the what the root cause is just being visibly distracted during the interview. Like I had this situation recently, actually. Someone was not only looking like this the whole time,
Yeah.
but also it looked like he was working or I don't know, checking his phone, checking, I don't know, he was all
Yeah.
over the place. And I
Yeah.
couldn't focus. He was distracted. It just didn't go well. And again, it's people treat an interview as some, I don't know, a magic hour where we're like in a a bubble, but it's not. It's actually it's an opportunity for me to see what it would look like on day one,
Yes.
day two, day seven. I just call you randomly, and I will, because this is how we work today, right?
Yeah.
I will call you like this, and how are we going to be together? And it
Yes.
matters so much. Like it was also during this last process, I was talking to a team member actually who would be doing the onboarding with the new person, and I always ask him in the end, like, do you want to spend a whole month with this person? Because in the end, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to come
Yeah. Yeah.
switch on your computer and see this person the whole day almost. So it's very, but I think we can tell, right, if we want to keep
Yeah.
talking or we don't. So I think it's
Absolutely.
yeah, small things like that. And then also, canceling, being late, not talking about it to me. I mentioned it before. It's fine. I mean, life happens. I would rather you call me and tell me you're late than,
Yeah.
I don't know, never follow up with me even and be on time, right? So
Yeah.
just communicate. Like this is, if you show up late and never mention it, if you cancel and never mention it and then expect me to follow up with another date, like this is just not going to work because I assume
Yeah.
this is how you show up at work. So I
Yeah.
guess that's my instant, oh no, that's a red flag.
No, I mean, it's such a good insight. I think, I talked about this to candidates sometimes, and I think
Mhm.
that candidates sometimes see getting hired as the finish line.
Yeah,
The process is to get to play the game to get offered the job.
yeah,
Where hiring managers, what we are only asking ourselves is, and the only thing we can only work with the information we have.
yes,
So if we've had 2 hours or 3 hours interacting with you as a candidate, We have to just basically say, okay, we're going to multiply this now, and that's what you're going to be like every day. We have no other reason to think anything different.
Exactly.
And that's like, again, I think that's like, I said this lately to a candidate. I was like, it's true. Like the other thing that was quite interesting for me is that I said, you don't understand how truly painful it is to have to end the recruitment or end the journey with a new employee after 3 months.
Oh my gosh, no.
This is not like it didn't work, let's get the next person in the queue.
No,
No, this is
no,
extremely
it breaks my
painful.
heart. Yeah.
It's extremely painful. It costs it's
Yeah.
a time ineffective. It interacts with the rest of the team, etc. And we take this is our personal failure if we hired someone that didn't work
Yeah.
out in 3 months, right? So, but no, I mean, I agree. That's what I was saying with candidates. Like, I can't answer this for you individually because everyone is different. But I can only tell you that I believe a lot of fantastic candidates didn't get hired because they were having a bad day on the interview day. It was not their day on the interview day. And probably in general, they were much nicer, better energy, but that day, and we can only judge you on that experience. So think to yourself, and maybe I'll have this as a future guest, or maybe Anna, you can give some advice here. Like, think what will help you. Go, maybe put 30 minutes before the interview as clear time to go for a walk, to move the body. So I'm not an expert in this, sadly, but do whatever you can to get yourself in the best version of you.
It's also, to me, it actually comes down to, are you even excited about the job?
Yes.
That's it. So, I mean, of course, you can have bad days, you can have a headache, whatever. But even if you have a headache, like a terrible migraine, you can call me and be open and say, look, I know it maybe sounds bad, but I'm being really honest here. I'm having the worst migraine. I would be like, again, unusual, so thrilled. I'm, taking notes, but also it's fine. And I want you to win. It's, as we said, I want you to come as your best self. So one is exactly what you said before, like, think, are you okay? Are you hungry? Did you sleep well? Blah, 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 all those things. But also, to me, are you excited when you think that you're going to work with me? And it usually, it gets you through the hour, like, and usually it gets you every day, like, because we're not always having great days at work, and we're going to have really like terrible days. And if we're in the end, if we're excited about what we do, like, we can survive the one, crappy day, but we want to come back tomorrow, right? So if you're actually applied because you want to work here and this is the job that you think is exciting, it will come off. So I'm really positive.
It's like you said. I mean, we sometimes maybe we overthink these things, but like you said, if someone called you and said, "Hey, listen, I've got an interview scheduled with you today. I want you to know the best version of me, and it's not today. This super happen. I would love to reschedule." That honesty, this transparency, etc. Like this. I would only imagine 9 times out of 10, a hiring manager will go, "Okay, let's reschedule this. Let's put it on a better day." Because also as a hiring manager, we also candidates, like, if I reject you and then you go on to be a superstar somewhere else, I also feel like I screwed up. Like, so, I want to know the best version of you always.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely.
And I'm talking about energy and that kind of thing and people wanting to work and so on. I like this question of, can someone get hired by you when you are not recruiting, when you're not actively recruiting for that role? And what's your thoughts on this kind of process?
Yeah. Well, in general, I'd say no, because it's not how it works. I have, headcount and budgets and everything, but it doesn't mean like we can't connect. And it doesn't mean I won't have an open role soon. It was the case for me, at least in the last, couple of months. So if you want to connect, if you want to work with me or any hiring manager, and it's from a genuine place, not just, I'll do it with everyone, like the spammy way and like the 100 CVs. No, if it's actually something that, I don't know, is your dream, or you think we would connect, we could do something good together. Well, just let me know, because I know my team, I know different teams. I run a recruiting team. So people know people, right? And so I guess the best thing that you can do is just, let me know you so that I know you, so that I can reference you, so I have you in the back of my head, right? So, and again, with the interview is not like a bubble thing and then we, disappear and then it's real life. Everything is real life, right? I connect with you here and then here, and it just gets, I build some imagination of you all the time, right? So even if you don't get a role now, I can contact you later, or I can reference you to someone. Coming back to I root for you. I want to help people. People generally like to help people. So if you want to get known, get known. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So I encourage people to connect, like on a human level. That's, I think, the bottom line.
I like this topic because it, again, like as you explained it, like there's, from a candidate perspective, there's no way you lose from doing this. Now, maybe you don't get the ultimate goal, which is to get hired by Anna today, because you work in an organization with real strong structure and budget and so on. But you don't lose as well, because you're either on the radar with you, or you connect, or you do that kind of. But if I can ask then a different layer, because again, this is I know in the startup space that answer can sometimes be a little bit more loose. Like, I can always open up a role, but you're in a big organization with lots of moving parts. Are you even allowed? Like, let's say you're next. You know that you've got a next need. A team member changes in your organization. Is it kind of a procedure that you have to open the role publicly, or could you go to a short list of 2 or 3 people that you know? Like, are you allowed to do that? And would you do that even?
I think, well, it goes back to the kickoff meeting with the recruiter, and also we have our HR business partners. So we just talk. If I say, look, I have someone who's available, who looks great and would fit, I would go with them. We always, publish internally and outside. But if sometimes I'm thinking of probably it never happened with me, but sometimes we don't even open because we know there's someone who, or actually it happened with me. I actually hired someone now without even new recruitment, because it happened so fast. I used the candidate who's very good from my previous recruitment. So there you go. This is what we do.
I'm explaining this a lot for both sides actually, and I'm saying this to recruiters, which is, I think we're at a stage right now where both from candidates and I think from recruiters and hiring managers perspective, I think we're potentially a little bit afraid of that opening door element, because once we post a job, we are then open to 200 applications, 500 applications, in the same way that a candidate, if somebody loses a job or changes, what I'm seeing, what they do now is, maybe before they go to the job boards and they start applying, they are looking at the network, they're making that post on LinkedIn. Does anyone want to recommend anything before I go to that really cold, low trust, low awareness moment? So, and I think that's why, again, like positioning, building relationship, we again, I think that my perspective, and like I said, it's different. I would prefer to have one application.
Absolutely.
Perfect person, I hire them. Maybe for peace of mind.
The pulse of the market. But absolutely, we don't like to have lots of applicants. This is nightmare. This is really bad, costly,
And I think you're coming back to what you said. I think actually, from a candidate perspective, I even think there was a statistic about it, about that perfect middle, which I think was around, I think the numbers showed something like between 10 to 17 job processes was the perfect amount for you to get hired. So actually going over 17, applying for more than 17 jobs, was actually negative to you actually achieving your goal. And I think the same, wouldn't you as a candidate rather apply for 5 jobs, be in really 5 deep processes and get hired from one of them, rather than being in 100? So I think it definitely relates on both sides. And as we move towards the end here, I have a question, which is, when you think about those screening calls and those interview processes, I'm kind of combining this together, 2 different questions, which is there a question you love to ask? Which is there a question that really, you kind of go-to question, that it opens a door or something? And in the flip side, like, what are some of the best questions candidates maybe have ever asked you? that opened your eyes and so on. But we'll start with you first. As what are the questions that you find the most valuable?
Yeah, well, that might sound a bit cliche, but I actually like the opening question. Like, why
Yeah,
are we here? Like, why do we
sure.
meet today? Why did you
Oh,
apply?
yes.
Why are we here? And it's something that you are like, you can be like 100% sure someone will ask some version of this question. Why do I like this? It's because in the beginning of every interview, I try to always like do my opening line and establish some ground rules. Just to say what you mentioned on briefly, like I know it's an hour. It's just going to be a sneak peek, right? I'm just going to peek
Yeah,
into your world and you're going to peek into my world. And let's make the most of it. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to ask you to do the same. Don't trick me. I won't trick you. It's not like, it's not a
yes,
place for this. It's a place for genuine connection so that I can tell you, okay, I have what you need and want and dream of, and I can give it to you. And same from, on both
yeah,
sides. So once I open with that, and then I ask, so again, why are we here?
yeah,
You can tell a lot by this. One, you can tell if someone has been preparing, because if someone,
yeah,
is all over the place, you're like, you knew you
yeah,
were going to get this question. So I see if the answer is structured and concise, and do you know what you want to say? Two is like, what's your main motivation? Are you running away from something, or are you running towards, and you
yeah,
actually you want to go somewhere, not escape something? So this is
yeah,
something that can be heard during this question or this answer. And then, what I also see always is this level of excitement we were talking about. Is, are you actually like this? Are you really, do you want to do this? Why are we here? Do
yeah,
you just, oh, you're my 100th interview today, and are you like this? Or are you
yeah,
actually, want to do this? And
yeah, yeah,
I think really 10 out of 10 people that I hired showed something during this first question that I knew they've done the work, they know what it's about, and they genuinely want to do it. And there's
yeah,
some version of, I just like to work. I am fit for this
yeah,
role. I read it and I thought that's me. A couple of things that
yeah.
just show you, okay, he's actually or she's actually willing to do that. So yeah, it's a good start. I like what it opens up, and
I,
you can
I
shovel up.
just want to because like from a candidate perspective, what I love about this, and it gives an insight again into what I'm trying to show
Yeah.
to candidates, which is this is not a behind the scenes formula. Because if it was, you, Anna, would be like, okay, I've got 15 exam type questions. How would you
Yeah.
do this? How? It's not
Yeah.
the case. We need your energy. We need to learn about you. And I was like, it's such a simple question, but oh my goodness, like it just tells you everything, and and it sets the energy for the day, like you said. I mean, especially if someone starts with, oh well, my current job is awful, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we're going to start there, and it tells so much
Exactly.
about the process, right? So
It's a,
I love
yeah.
it. I think that must give so much insight, and I'm even thinking about the fact that okay, we have a new generation of employees now coming into the market that are obviously different. And it just reminded me, I had an interview probably 3 months ago where I asked this kind of question, and they were like, "I don't really know," and I was like, "I love that." Wait, I appreciate the brutal honesty. However, okay,
However,
here we
yeah.
are. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. And what about the other side? If candidates asked you, what are some of the
Yeah.
interesting questions candidates can ask you?
Again, coming to the low bar thing, just
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
questions. Oh
yeah,
gosh. Do you have any
yeah,
questions? No. I mean, how can you not have questions? You want to work with me every day, 8 hours. Like, this
yeah,
is crazy. Have some questions. So start there. What do you want to
yeah,
know? What are you afraid of? What interests you? What excites you? Like anything. So that's,
yeah,
just rule number one. And then it's just, again, coming back to the story of my PR EB candidate, just if you do the work actually to prepare for the interview, to imagine yourself doing the work, you are going to have questions, like
yeah,
naturally. It's not about now, let's Google the best questions to, go with
yeah,
during interview. It's what are you interested in? Like, seriously, what
yeah,
is your worry? What is your concern? What is your hope for this role? And then if you
yeah,
start from the place of genuine like curiosity and imagination of what it would look like, you will have questions like just like that. So just go there. This is my advice.
I, I agree. I mean, again, you have to candidates. You have to sometimes remember, and again, this goes for both sides of the table. I think we have a really good, because of the trust scenarios. For me, I always have a challenge sometimes when it's a question that I've heard 50 times before,
Yes.
which tells me like, was this question really for me? So, we get that question
Hmm.
of like, what does an average day look like? Which I get, there is some value in that, but I want a question that makes me believe that it's actually about this role, about this company. And that can be a generic question, but even the tone and the way that you ask it can make the difference. Or that little tweak of, like just I'm a little bit allergic to like, okay, you like you said, you Googled the
Yeah.
best 3 questions to ask and you asked them. Okay, good that you prepped, but it didn't move the dial for me.
Yes. Also, I'm thinking of the recent candidates that asked me questions that were actually, good questions and valid
Yeah,
questions. It was, for example, like, okay, so I've seen you are actually right now in a difficult stage as a company. How does it look like for us in the HR?
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
brilliant question. Let me
yeah,
tell you. And then it shows, and I think it, for me, it shows like, okay, there's some imagination there, there's some prep work,
yeah.
but also it's again this, like human connection. Like I'm a bit worried because you maybe are not in the best place right now. Am I
Mhm.
going to be okay with this? And me going, okay, so look, this is what it looks like for my team. I can be, transparent, as I said in the beginning. So that was one. The other was, again, coming back to the complexity of the role in my team. It was like, okay, this is a lot. How are
Yeah,
you going to onboard me? Such
yeah,
a good question. Where do we
yeah,
start? How is it going to work day by day? Like, again, it seems like a generic question, like, what will the first month look like? But actually, it came from a very genuine place. Like, okay, I'm a bit, I don't know, seems
yeah,
like a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Tell me, like, help me imagine that.
Yeah, we as hiring managers, I think we want to believe that you're taking this decision seriously also. I
Yes.
think if we get this vibe that it's just any job, okay, in certain areas and certain skill sets, maybe in in the local area, the expectations will not be so high that you're so excited. Like, yes, applying for a job in Sasa versus Smith is probably similar for you, and I think you'll find the hiring manager is understanding of that. But as we get to this level, if it feels like I just need a job, it's it probably falls slightly in the negative column
Yes.
for a hiring manager than the
And
positive.
coming back to the question, if I have 20 people, like who will I choose? Well, obviously, I will
Yeah,
choose the excited and the one who wants
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I said this on a recent episode that kind of you have to understand like one of our biggest challenges as leaders inside organizations is keeping our existing team motivated. Keeping our employees excited,
Yeah.
happy. So when someone comes through the door and they're motivated already, this is like, whew, okay. Like I like working with people who want to work with
Yeah.
me. Kind of.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's
Exactly.
cool. Anna, so the last question I've got before we do a little recap is, I want to know like, there's a couple of levels to this question, but first of all, how do you feel about candidates following up with you in between stages? I know you talked about picking up the phone, etc. Like, how
Yeah.
again, this is maybe more of an old traditional thing, but candidates always talk, like they don't know if they should follow up or not because one manager will be excited that they are
Yeah.
motivated and they're asking me about, and then there'll be another manager who's like, okay, I can see that this person is already
A trouble.
yeah, like it's taking a
Yeah.
lot of my time. It scares me. But what is it like for
Yes.
you?
So again, coming back to the what's it like for hiring managers today and the establishing some rules, I think it's
Yeah,
on me to tell you, is it okay to contact me or not?
yeah,
And I do. I say, hey, look, this is my phone number, this is my email, this, the recruiter already. Please just reach out. And guess what? Nobody reaches out. So
yeah.
just reach out. I mean, I'm fine with it. I would be thrilled. And I'm not saying obviously like, oh, when are you coming back? Like, did you
Sure, yeah,
decide? No,
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
hey, I enjoyed our conversation. I have a follow-up question, or just I enjoyed our conversation.
yeah,
That would be incredible.
yeah,
Or just if something came up, and I specifically say like, if something comes up after this interview, please
yeah,
reach, and nobody does. So I guess the
yeah,
question maybe for or the advice for the candidate would be just in the question section during the interview, just to
yeah,
establish some rules. Like, is
yeah,
it okay if I
yeah,
follow through? Is it okay if I call you? Do you want, like, is it
Yeah.
okay? How are we going to communicate? And then you get a red light or green light. So
Yeah.
that's maybe the
I
easy.
I like it. I mean, again, I think like one of my other guests said, as long as it's with purpose, as long as there's a reason behind it, and don't follow up just because it's step three of this of
No.
the way to get hired. But I also
Yeah.
said I think I really like what you said. I mean, I can imagine the question of, hey, listen, like I am in other recruitments. Would you like to know if I get an offer from another recruitment process?
That
That
would be, yeah.
kind of question, yeah.
Yeah. I try to do this during the interview, but sometimes you know,
Yeah.
get caught up in the conversation and then it's just, the hour is up. And so
Yeah.
it's absolutely fine to call back. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. I like it. The second part of that question, which I'm getting used to now, which I'm thinking about a lot, is if a candidate gets rejected, because I'm
Mhm.
experiencing this as a hiring manager as well. If a candidate gets rejected, is there like, how do you feel about what they do next? Because what I see is there's a whole stream of this happening now, especially
Yeah.
not in our route. But what I mean is some candidates say, is like some candidates then just don't reply at all after the rejection. And okay,
Mhm.
I kind of get it. Some candidates will reply saying, thank you, let me know. And obviously some candidates will also reply and show their frustration of the decision. But
Mhm.
what I'm not seeing enough yet is, and I think I would personally, is it okay for a candidate to challenge the decision and explain why they? Oh, but I know you got to that conclusion. However, what are
Mhm.
your thoughts about what? Because again, I think candidates are in a little bit of a minefield right now on how they are
Mhm.
handling this, and like you said, especially about burning bridges. But it's a slight
Yeah.
extreme. I see some candidates burning bridges now. But
Mhm.
like, what should a candidate do for you to keep the best possible relationship after they get rejected by you?
Mhm. Well, look, if the interview went well and I reject you, it's okay. I mean, I have a
Yeah,
great memory and I remember you. And maybe in my case, it happened like last month. I mean, I came back to the candidate who I
yeah,
rejected like a month
yeah,
earlier. And I said, hey, guess what? Something
yeah,
opened up. I remembered you. Let's do it again. So I don't actually see rejection as something that you should, it's like another stage that we should do something about. It's
yeah,
one thought that I have is, do you feel like you actually understand what happened? And if you don't and you want to challenge it, please do. I mean, I should know why I rejected you. This is
yeah,
my role as a
yeah,
hiring
yeah.
manager. If I don't, well, then sorry for me, right? I have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
hard time, but I should be absolutely sure why I hired someone and not you. So
yeah,
if it's unclear to you and you feel like this would be a valuable feedback, sure, challenge me. Say, oh, this was too
yeah,
generic. I still don't know what I've done wrong. And usually when
yeah,
I have really good candidates, it's not that you've done something wrong. It's just that
yeah,
someone was better. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
slightly more experienced, available faster. I don't know, something,
yeah,
usually small things. And then, or sometimes you actually blew the interview. Like some days
yeah, 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 yeah,
had. And I don't follow immediately with this kind of feedback because, well, if you ask me, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to write you an email saying, oh, you didn't look at the camera for the whole interview. I'm not going to do that
yeah,
because maybe this is your
yeah,
style. I don't care. But if
yeah,
you ask me, I'll tell you. So I think, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, and I even encourage it to just end on a good note. Like, thank you.
give
It
some
was a valuable
closure.
experience.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I try to start with that. I mean,
yeah,
yes and no are both valid answers here, and they can be good
yeah,
answers. Like
yeah,
sometimes I just know it will be miserable for you if I hire you, and the same goes to me, right?
yes,
I offer you a job, and you say, oh, you know what? I just looked into it, and no. And
yeah,
it's a good answer. If it's a, if we came to a conclusion, it's fine. So yeah, I guess
yeah.
that's
I followed that path, and I had a similar experience recently where I think that what you might find candidates, and I'm still on the fence of how as a hiring manager this should be done. What I
Mhm.
normally lead with is the most simplistic version of the feedback, which is, hey, listen, we didn't hire you. It was this, and thank you so much. And
Yes.
we're trying to find a balance between not ruining your month as a candidate and being overly, we don't know you so well, so we can't be so.
Yeah.
But I had a candidate who came back and said, hey, listen, I'm not sure, like, that didn't make sense to me. And I was like, okay, you've opened the door, I'll give you the more specifics. And
Yes.
after that they said, thank you, okay, I get it. So I think, but I must admit, as I look at this now, I think I think as a candidate, even if you need 24 hours to breathe on the decision, try to reply and say, okay, I get it, or I don't get it, but thank you. Like, bring the conversation full circle. It shows a lot of maturity. It's and again, you never know where the future will go from both sides as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I try to call actually because I think
okay, yeah,
I'm the phone girl.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I try to, finish with a phone call, but so yeah, you have to reply somehow. And usually people, sometimes if you're not in a good mood, you're like, okay, thank you, goodbye, and that's fine. And sometimes we
yeah,
talk
yeah,
a bit longer. I had a recent candidate who I rejected, but I called her and I said, look, you are really good. Like I
yeah,
want you to hear this from me. If I had an open role for
yeah,
a junior position, I would absolutely hire you. You have the right
yeah,
skills, the attitude, the energy, everything. So you are a good match, but I need a senior someone here. I need an expert. So, but you're on a very good path. So if I can do this, and it was someone who I was in contact with during the interview, I will follow through with this as well.
makes sense. Anna, okay, with phenomenal amount of advice and feedback here for candidates. We try to finish every episode with, what are the 3 tips you would give to someone who applying for your next role for you that would put them in the best position? Let's take for granted that they're qualified, not to go too far into
Okay.
that side, but let's say they're qualified and they could be hired. What are the
Yeah.
3 things that you're a little like cheat sheet for someone applying for a job with you?
Yeah. So one would be just rewrite your CV. Like I'm almost certain you can rewrite your CV tailored to the job, right? So
Yep.
we've talked about this. It sometimes is surprising for people, but the first person usually in a big company like ours to look at your CV is someone who doesn't really know the job. It's a recruiter from HR. So read the job offer, read your CV, and see if there's a match. If I ask for 7 things, I'm going to look for those 7 things, and please write them in a way that I can understand what exactly happened. Like, what did you do, what you achieved, how it can be measured, like how you actually did it. I don't need to know, and please don't do it, your job, every job description. Like, this is noise.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, just
Yeah.
scroll through it. It's not helpful. So just tell me what is relevant, but tell me, this is my exact, again, my biggest fear, that I miss someone because they just didn't write it. So
Mm-hmm.
one would be, please rewrite your CV in a way that can get noticed by a recruiter who only knows the requirements. So that's one. Then 2, prepare. Like, prepare properly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
imagine the questions, practice the answers, think about the role in a way makes you curious and that makes you write some notes and write some questions for me. Just try to imagine what it would be like to work. I try to be specific in my job offer, so you can
Mm-hmm.
try to imagine what the day would look like, and then just see, are you excited? If you're not, I mean, you can check, obviously, but if you're not, and it's not, you can do it, but you don't want to do it, well, then maybe just don't. But prepare properly. You can think of most of the questions really, or some of the questions, and then practice, practice, practice. This is something that really separates the people who, you know, I hire from the ones that I don't. It's like they've done
Mm-hmm.
the work. And as we said, it's interview is a small job, like work sample. So
Yep.
if you come prepared, I am going to assume that you prepare and you come prepared. So that would be 2. And then 3, it's maybe a small thing. It's during the interview, but also I think it's generally an advice about the attitude. I call it the lean forward attitude. I mean, like this.
Yeah.
It's like, I talk to you, I'm curious, I want to hear your
Yeah.
questions, I want to talk to you. So it's not like this, and I'm back here. I'm here, and I'm actually, like, even mentally here. Like, I'm curious,
Yeah.
I'm engaged. I want to know I want to know the job. Like, just lean forward. Sometimes it's just coming back to the bad day. Yeah. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
small shift in posture. Like, I'm actually engaged. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
actually curious. So I guess that would be my 3rd one, just the lean forward attitude, and just, just lean. This is what we're going to
Yeah.
get. Like, that's
Yeah.
it. So just make it fun and make me want to call you back.
I
That's it.
mean, I love it. I love it. And not, please understand that. I mean, sometimes I love that it's both a mentality thing, but it's also a very practical thing that people can do. And not everything has to be big picture. Sometimes it's that
Yeah.
simple thing that oh yeah, like on my last interview, passive. I was looking at the second screen.
Yeah.
There are two little things you can change that might be the difference between you getting your dream job and not getting your dream job. And I'm all for it. Like you said, energy. Energy is so important, especially in a day when CVs can be very similar because of AI.
Yeah.
Skill sets can be very similar. So what does it come down to? It will come down to how you talk in that hour-long meeting and do I want to work with you? So
Yes.
Anna, amazing. Thank you so much for today. Candidates, I really have no doubts that this was super interesting and valuable for you. As always, if you did like this content, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments below wherever you are catching this episode. And yeah, Anna, I think it was fantastic. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And I'd love to have you back in the future. Let's see if anything changed. Let's see if we had to add anything to because of the craziness of recruitment these days. But I really hope one of your future candidates watch this episode because we like people who prepare. Yeah, that would be great. So
that would be great. Yes, thank you. And thank you again for the intention behind this. It's very close to my heart as well. So it was fun. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye, everybody.